Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We're going to go ahead and go over a few things about tomorrow's severe threat here in the state of Michigan. Go ahead and pop in the comments here real quick. Make sure you guys can hear me. What's up, Chris? What's up, Nick? What's up, Sonny, Robert, Jessica, Matthew, Carol? All right, guys. If you guys can't hear me, I'm sure you guys will tell me, but otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, thank you, Chris. So we do have an SPC marginal risk for tomorrow, as we see here in green, the darker green color that is. For most all of lower Michigan, it stops up by Traverse City, Gaylord, and Roscommon areas. So areas like Sheboygan, Alpena are not getting in on that threat, but anywhere further south of that area is in the severe threat. What is that threat entitle? Number one would be, well, not number one, but we'll go ahead and do the wind first because wind is the primary threat. The SPC highlights a 5 to 14% wind risk, as we see here all across the Michigan area for the exact same areas of the marginal risk. Secondary threat is going to be for a tornado or two possible. That threat is shifted just a bit further south than the very tip top of that marginal risk. So that really stops just to the north of Mount Pleasant. So areas just like West Branch, the Tri-Cities, just north of Tri-Cities, and then further south to the border is in that tornado risk. A more zoomed in look for that will look like this. So areas included in that tornado risk are going to be Clare, Big Rapids, Mount Pleasant, Saginaw, Flint, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Adrian, Jackson, Coldwater, Battle Creek, Muskegon, Fremont, Grand Rapids, those main cities. If you guys don't know how to read the map, highly suggest figuring out how to do so. That would help you tremendously with our streams here. But overall, if you are south of Mount Pleasant in Michigan, you are in the tornado risk. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into some models here and also look at timing and give our thoughts here as well. So first and foremost, we do have multiple models that we look at here. The first one is going to be the HRRR, a very common model that we use for summertime severe weather setups. Nothing's really changed. If you guys watched the stream this morning, the main time frame here is that 1 to 2 p.m. time frame in West Michigan. We see a line of storms try to start developing here at 2 o'clock on this model. This is the HRRR. Run this through the time frame. Here's 3 o'clock. We see a scattered response here of our storms across the state. Move it up here to 4 o'clock, a little bit more stronger here, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It clears the state by 9 or 10 o'clock. So 1 to 10 p.m. is the approximate time frame earlier in the west side of the state, later in the east. These storms are going to be moving at roughly 50 to 60 miles per hour, so they're very quick moving. It's going to be very you're going to see the storm coming at you. It's going to be on you and past you before you know it. These storms are going to be moving pretty quick. Otherwise, we have another model we look at, the RRFS model. Exact same scenario here, although this one has a bit better of response further south. So this is tomorrow morning. We have some scattered showers and storms, clears out for the afternoon. And by 2 p.m., we see development here in West Michigan toward the Kalamazoo, Berrien County area. That comes through the 3 p.m. time frame. It turns into a nasty looking line here. And then that continues to move eastward through the afternoon. That's 4. Here's 5. There's 6, 7, 8. And again, clearing the state by roughly 9 to 10 p.m. So the approximate time frame is just that, 1 to 10. Overall, it is going to be a very quick moving line of storms. Now, in terms of threats, I would expect this to remain mainly a wind threat. The wind profiles tomorrow, just the wind alone without any storms, are going to be quite strong. We see, this is your wind gust map here, and this purple color is our high 30s, low 40s, and the reds are the more so high 40s. So this is a knot, so bump those up a little bit. So 40 knots, roughly 45 mile per hour wind gusts. So we're going to say between 40 and 50 mile per hour wind gusts are going to be likely tomorrow outside of thunderstorms. Now, if any thunderstorms do develop, which we expect them to develop, showers or storms, those will likely have a better chance of taking those winds that are aloft in the atmosphere and pulling those down to the surface. So what that means is any storm, regardless of how much moisture and stability there is probably going to be really gusty in terms of severity. Whether that's severe gusts, I don't know yet, but between those 40 and 50 mile per hour gusts is what we kind of expect as a baseline. But overall, there are two things we're watching tomorrow. Number one, they go hand in hand. Number one is your moisture. Number two is your instability. So your moisture content is important to get storms to fire up. And looking at the surface moisture, we do see a good response into the mid, or should I say low 50s here, which is the very minimum we want to see here. Across in front of that line there, we're seeing 54, 53 dew points here, which is just marginally sufficient. It's like the borderline. Like you want to see these in more so high 50s, but there's also a lot of dynamics at play here that could enhance the threat even with lower dew points. So it's kind of like that borderline. We don't really know exactly what it's going to do tomorrow, but if you get any higher dew points, that would increase the threat a little bit. Second one is going to be instability is our second product we look at. This is basically the potential energy for thunderstorms to use. The more we have, the better for severe weather. The less we have, the less threat we're going to have. So latest model guide this afternoon does show right around 500 to 600 joules of surface-based CAPE still. The models have trended just slightly down. So if we don't want severe weather, it's trending in that direction, although it's just a start of a trend. We have no idea how the evening models are going to come out yet. So we're going to have to watch those close, roughly between the 9 and 10 p.m., 11 p.m. time frame. We'll have new data coming out. So we'll have to watch that close. But as this line progresses eastward, the latest model here does weaken instability significantly from what it was showing the previous model runs. So at this point in time, the threat is definitely still there. It's something we're going to be watching here. There's actually a lot of a product we call 3 CAPE, which is basically a measure of CAPE in the lowest levels of the atmosphere that may try to overcome. There's enough of that that may try to overcome the weaker instability profiles that we have. So there's a lot of moving factors with this, is what I'm trying to say here. But overall, it's a very fluid forecast. It's conditional on our moisture and stability. Your threats are going to be, again, primarily wind, higher wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. There is no hail threat tomorrow. We could see some pea size. Not too concerned for large hail, though, because our updrafts are expected to be quite small, quite shallow, I guess, in depth. They're not going to be really tall updrafts. They're going to be short updrafts. And for hail, you want tall updrafts. In terms of tornadoes, though, tornadoes are going to be a threat only if we have sufficient moisture and sufficient destabilization. Otherwise, this is just going to be a gusty wind threat. So tomorrow morning's forecast is going to be vital to look at real-time data and get an idea of how the atmosphere is looking. So if we get the moisture and stability, we'll probably word it as isolated tornadoes possible, but otherwise at this point, it's just a chance. It's a conditional threat. We're going to communicate that to you. I wouldn't get overly concerned at this point. It's trending in the right direction, that we're not going to be too concerned for it. But again, if that changes, then we kind of have to change our wording as well. But for right now, winds are going to be a primary threat. And then your secondary threat would be a tornado or two possible along that line. In terms of what kind of tornadoes, they're going to be the brief, weak spin-up type tornadoes. We're not expecting any long tracks, strong tornadoes at all. These types of line segments can really try and tighten up quickly. So we'll be looking at this line as it moves through the state very closely to see how it interacts with the wind shear and profiles and stuff like that. So we're watching it closely. We'll be here live streaming tomorrow. I'll be here on Radar. I believe Joel will be here with me on Radar as well. We have at least 3 or 4 chasers that are planning to go out tomorrow across the state. So we will have you guys covered, both on Radar and also in the field here. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys. We do have a forecast, a detailed forecast posted, given our thoughts. We also put the SPC map on there. So go check that out. It is pinned on our page. We do have also threats on the bottom there out of 10. So 2 out of 10 would be a low threat. For tornadoes there. The wind we have at 4 out of 10, so a bit higher of a wind threat. And then hail is just 1, not really expecting much at all. So hopefully that graphic makes sense for you guys. But otherwise, that's all I got. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in chat. But again, if you're going to ask for your locations and what I think, I'm going to tell you basically you're going to be in the threat, because if you're in lower Michigan, you're basically in this threat. Unless you live up near Mackinac Island, then you're not. Okay. For the tornado threat, I would say it's highest off to the south and west. But again, the SPC does have a tornado risk extending all the way up toward the Cadillac, Big Rapids, Clare areas. So again, majority of the population of you guys watching here are likely going to be in this threat. Otherwise, I would just hold off on asking your specific locations. I'm just going to tell you the exact same thing. Yeah, Kenny, 1 to 9 p.m. Earlier in the west side of the state, later in the east side of the state. So tomorrow morning, for those of you asking about timing, tomorrow morning when we have exact 100% confidence, we will post a timing graphic map. But for right now, we can probably do that, honestly. We have enough confidence for timing. It's been pretty consistent. We'll get that. We'll actually work on that tonight, so we can get that up tonight for a timing map for you. But otherwise, 1 p.m. arrival, 1 to 2 p.m. on the west side of the state. It'll move east-northeast through the state and clearing the state by 9 p.m. So if you're on the east side of the state, like Flint, Saginaw, Pontiac, Detroit, Ann Arbor, expect storms around, I'm going to say 6 to 8 p.m. If you're in like Lansing, Mount Pleasant, Alma, Ionia, Hastings area, expect it more so between like 4 and 7. But if you're over toward Grand Rapids, Fremont, Kalamazoo, South Haven, Holland, Muskegon, those areas, 2 to 3 is going to be, or should I say 1 to 3 is going to be your time frame there. Northern Lights tonight. I don't expect it. I don't expect any. Let me hop on this dashboard really quickly here and get an idea. Not expecting that at all tonight. That was a yesterday type of ordeal, so not concerned or not really interested in that. No, the data looks pretty bad right now, so no. Julie asks, are we going to have any good cloud structure to photograph with? If we get a good line segment tomorrow, shelf cloud probably. Although looking for any type of tornadic activity, wall clouds are probably going to be rain wrapped. So likely not going to see if there's any tornadoes or wall clouds, anything like that. We're not going to see those, but shelf clouds definitely a possibility. The cloud heights are going to be quite low tomorrow. Jess asked, is it going to be stronger over toward Lake Michigan coastline as it hits land? So if there's a higher threat within this, broad spectrum of an outlook here, it's probably going to be south of Grand Rapids over toward Lansing, toward Kalamazoo, the southwest corner of the state. Although everybody has a threat, I'll be honest. Although the models for right now seem to be favoring that particular area a little bit more so than others. That could change. Models do change. I expect that to change. But overall, that's the area that I'd favor more so in Southwest Michigan over there. Tina asks, are we going to see a slight risk upgrade? So I'm going to say at this point, no, unless we have significant changes at the evening models. For right now, the models, we're looking pretty good. Then the afternoon models here came in and kind of started trying to weaken the instability just a bit. So if that trend continues, we're probably going to stay marginal. But if we have a return of, or should I say an increase of instability, we may see a slight risk for wind introduced. I wouldn't expect it to go 5% for a tornado, though. I think it's going to stay pretty much the 2% risk. But we could see a slight for wind. I'm not going to rule that out. St. Clair County time estimate, looking more so towards the after 5 to 7 p.m. time frame, around that. No, I wouldn't work from your bathtub, Corbin. I wouldn't be that concerned or that anxious over this just yet. We'll be live here streaming radar for you guys. So if you guys do end up having to take cover, what we're going to tell you here. This is not a threat that we're trying to, make an exaggeration out of. It's a low-end threat, but it's a threat nonetheless. Just because it's a marginal risk does not mean we can't get tornadoes. We can't get, severe weather here. If we want to be honest, the Grand Blake tornado happened at a marginal risk. So we'll keep that in mind too. It also happened at 2% tornado risk as well. So a lot of people saying, oh, it's only 2%, it's only marginal. You've already had tornadoes in the state with a marginal risk. So yes, Desmond, that'd be correct. Time frame again, 1 p.m. in the west, and then 9 p.m. clearing the state by 9. So east side of the state towards Detroit, Saginaw, Flint areas in the thumb, looking more so 7 p.m. ish. Central part of the state more so 5 p.m. Give or take an hour or so. West side of the state 2 to 3 p.m. Newport Monroe probably roughly 7 to 8 p.m. If I could just make a timing map right now live for you guys, honestly. But I don't know if I want to do that, live. Actually, how many of you guys want me to make a timing map like right now? Because I can do that. Or I can try at least. But it's going to take me probably like 5 minutes to do. Let me know. I can do it here real quick. It's one of the most popular questions that we're asked. What's my area in the thread at what time? So I figured might as well. Oh, everybody's saying yes. Oh my goodness. I see a couple no's in here. Go for it. Yes. Everybody's saying yes. Okay. I'll go ahead and make it over on this screen here, and I'll go ahead and try and keep on answering questions here. It shouldn't take me too long to make. All right. Wind speeds. Tomorrow, the gusts are going to be between 40 and 50 without thunderstorms. If any storms can take advantage of the wind profiles, look for wind gusts to be right around the 60 mile per hour area. What's the highest number of live viewers you recall seeing at one given time? During the Grand Blink tornado, we had, I think, like 5,000 or so at one point, and the total stream had like 150,000. Yeah, make sure your phones are charged tomorrow. Outside of storms, the winds are going to be blowing, so we definitely could see some power outages likely tomorrow throughout the state. That goes for the entire state, not just one area. So keep that in mind as well. I'm working on the map, guys. Just give me a second here. I'll get it up for you. Any other questions here? So, Brittany, it's going to be raining overnight tonight. So it's going to be raining tomorrow morning as well. The expectation is a clear out between, we'll say, 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. It should clear out. We may see some sun, actually. And then from there, looking for those storms to fire up out either in West Michigan or in Illinois and move toward Michigan roughly around the 2 p.m. time frame, 1 to 2 p.m. time frame. All right, we're going to layer that. There we go. Now we can do this. Bear with me, guys. I'm working on it. That looks good. All right, one more layer. What about the UP? The UP is not in this threat, although you could see some thunderstorms tomorrow. But it could be gusty. No, nothing severe up there for you. You should be getting snow right now, actually. You getting snow up there? So the future models that you guys are asking about, is it weakened for my area? The future models are just taken as like a ballpark estimate. They're not supposed to be taken as gospel, just because this is going to change from model to model. It's very rare that we get model consistency that shows a storm or a severe storm over a particular area repeatedly. So we really can't predict that. The entire risk area that you see on your screen does have a risk for severe weather. So if you're in that risk, I'll just be on alert for any storms that do happen to move your way. We're going to make the blue just a bit bigger here. Okay. I can go ahead and hop that. All right. Where's my phone? There it is. I will make this and I will post it, or I'll get it up here in chat in just a minute. What's up, Freedom? Yeah, Cody. We'll have updates. We'll go live again tomorrow morning for this as well, roughly probably 10 a.m. or so. We'll also be live probably starting as soon as the storms fire up. We'll usually get a head start on those storms. If they're not severe, we'll just go ahead and go live just so we're already live covering everything that needs to be covered. So expect a morning live stream roughly 10 a.m. and then we'll go live probably again as soon as storms fire up, roughly around 1 to 2. Howl's in the threat. It's so small I can't see. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can try to zoom in. I think it's already zoomed in though. I can do this though. That's the tornado outlook. Let's go back here. That's all I can really do for you, honestly. I can zoom in. That's about all I can zoom in for. Like, I really can't predict what areas are going to get hit hardest. Portland isn't a severe threat tomorrow. So we just can't really predict, exactly how severe it's going to be for your location. You are in the risk, and that's all I really can say at this point. Tomorrow, when storms actually fire up and start moving towards different directions, at that point, we'll be able to tell you. But for right now, we just really can't. All right, I'm on the last stages here. I'm going to label this in times, and I'll be able to post it for you guys to look at. This is a rough estimate as well, so don't take this as it's just an estimate, not like a guarantee. Two more labels, I'll be posting it. And for those of you just tuning in here, I'm making a timing map because everybody wanted to know what times. Make it easier on everybody. I'll just make the map and go ahead and label the times here. Now, this is going to be for storm arrival. This isn't going to be for okay, we're good. All right, posting momentarily. Okay. Take a screenshot and zoom in. I don't work like that on the computer that I know of, unfortunately. All right, I'll get this up here. Come on, work with me. Sorry, guys, it's sending. Right, wait for it on this end, and I'll be able to post it. Lapeer County here. All right, what's up, Sandra? You are in the threat tomorrow. High winds expected all day. Yes, that is correct. Watching for the email. There it is. I can download it, upload. All right, here we go. Hopefully this makes everything a little bit better. Hop in here. Add overlay. Here we go. Uploading. All right, here we go. There's your timing map. Hopefully that makes everything a little bit better for you guys. So 1 to 3 p.m. on the west side of the state. Storms will clear the state by roughly 8 or 9 or so, 9, 10. But this is storm arrival, and I think 4 p.m. on the east side of the state's a little bit too aggressive, although we could see some storms try to fire out ahead. So I think 4 p.m. is a good time frame for you, although that should be the approximate. And this is not like a threat area. I did not mean to leave out the very tip of the thumb there. I know also just North Traverse City there is not in the threat. So this is a very broad outlook. So it's not meant to be exact for you guys, but otherwise that's the best I could do with the time I had. I'll leave it up there and I'll go back to the comments here for some questions. Yeah, Freedom. That's the entire CWA of both Grand Rapids and Detroit, and also parts of Gaylord's area too. So, we all good on that? Can I take it down, or you guys want to keep on looking at it? Greetings from Chelsea. What's up, Brad? Any other questions? Yeah, Brad, we are ready for storms as well. And of course, we hope for no damage. Never want to see that. My ears ring when pressure shifts. A lot of people's do. Human barometers is what we call them. Brittany asks, is there going to be a severe thunderstorm watch? Can't really say that until tomorrow. There may be, given the winds and all that. There could be. I could definitely see a watch being issued. Severe, not tornadic. I would expect it to be severe over a tornado, but I honestly don't know. If we get more instability, I could see it, but for right now, I'm going to lean toward no watch. I think I missed a question from Mark. Let me go back up here. Wind-wise on the surface wind, yes. So there's a lot of shear on the surface here. There's your wind map, actually. I'll go ahead and zoom in here so you guys can see a little bit better here. This is, again, in knots. So we're seeing 39, 41s, roughly right on 40 across the state here. So that translates between 40 and 50 miles per hour for the entire lower peninsula, and also the UP getting on the action as well, especially in the eastern side. But the wind does kick up there as well for the central and western part of the UP. So the entire state really gets in on the wind. But in terms of, what we have aloft, that's surface winds. If I were to show you guys, I know you guys probably don't understand this, but I'll show you guys. It's impressive to me. Look at this. We call it a trough, basically, where this is like your jet stream of the wind. And this is like a huge smiley face almost. And if you notice, this is Michigan up here. We're basically right at the edge of that smiley face. That's a good place to be for severe weather and stuff like that. That's all. This is your wind aloft. That's 120 knots at your 500 millibar, which is roughly 20,000 feet above the surface. So the wind shear is cranking, more than sufficient for it. So this is like the synoptic meteorology behind forecasting. This is the first layer you look at, the 500 millibar. So definitely have support there for sure. Yeah, I would definitely not go fishing tomorrow on the lakes. Can we show time again? Yes, we can. 1 to 3 p.m. on the west side of the state. It'll clear the state by roughly 9 o'clock. This is storm arrival. So expect between those time frames for storms to impact you. Again, don't be if you're in the 1 to 3 zone. If it's 3:05 and you're just now seeing storms, okay, sorry, we missed you by 5 minutes. It's a rough estimate here, but the 2-hour time frames here should be pretty well set. If you guys want to refer back to this, go ahead and screenshot, and I'm going to go and take this off in about 5 seconds. All right. Is the tornado risk low for Flint? So the tornado risk is equal to Flint than it is anywhere else. There's not one particular area in Michigan that has a higher threat than another, especially if you're in that green area. But the tornado risk is further south here. So Flint is in the heart of that 2% tornado risk, and again, it's equal to the entire risk area. I did give like a personal a thought, so to speak. If there's going to be a higher area that I'm kind of leaning towards for severe weather, it'd be over toward the Kalamazoo area in Southwest Michigan, just because some of the models have hit that area a little bit harder. Although, again, models are not, to be taken as gospel. So it's just like an idea, not a forecast. But if I was chasing tomorrow, I would probably be set up somewhere between Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and on 94 there, so roughly maybe toward the 69 corridor. Is it too soon for April 8th forecast yet? Yes. Well, that was a loud semi. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Do you know the time of the storm near Lapeer tomorrow? Yeah, after 4 or 5 p.m. So between 5 and 7, I'd say for Lapeer, because you're so far to the east. I'd say between 5 and 7 for you. All right. Any other questions before I hop off here? Anybody here from the late night crew? Anybody in here? We might go live later tonight for a live look at models, like roughly like 11 p.m. So if you guys are part of the late night crew, as we call it, If you guys want to hop on, I might. I'm not guaranteeing it, but we might hop on here. I might have a couple other guys. I might have Drew, Ben, maybe Joel on here as well if they're up. I'm not sure. Some of the guys on here, but otherwise we may hop on here depending on our schedules and stuff like that. But if you guys see us go live at 11 o'clock, don't panic. It's not going to be for severe weather. It's just going to be kind of for hangout purposes and just kind of watching those models. Julie, I ordered a test one. So we'll see how it came out first, and we might launch that. Honestly, I like the way that came out a lot. What are the chances a tornado happens in the state tomorrow? Or what are the chances that the state sees a tornado tomorrow? We talk about the state, we're talking about a wide area here. Okay. So if one tornado happens in a population of 8 million people here, that's a pretty low probability, which is why I said 2% here. So my personal expectation is 0 tornadoes. But if we wake up tomorrow and we look at, real-time data and go, oh, there is more moisture here than we thought. At that point, I'd be kind of thinking, okay, we could see a couple tornadoes here, 1 or 2 maybe. Otherwise, for right now, my expectation is 0. But it is a chance. I don't want to discount that chance. It's just, I think the wind shear is more so oriented in a way for damaging winds. At least for right now, at least. So the 2% chance is technically 2 to 4%. If you guys can see the graphic down here in the bottom right, they'll tell you there's a 2 to 4%. They call it 2% risk just because that's really what the SPC outlines. But that is for a probability of a tornado within a 25-mile period. So any point within this green area, not just the entire state, is a 2% chance. And don't discount it just because it's so low. Most of Michigan's tornadoes happen in 2 and 5% days. Grand Blanc happened at 2%. If you guys remember back on the 27th of February, that was a 2% day up there. Yeah, winds are going to kick up overnight tonight, and that's for sure. Okay, Rachel, you're going to be looking at some storms tomorrow across the state, including Midland. Although I will say this, the updrafts tomorrow are not going to be the tall type. They're going to be pretty, what we call low topped. So I would not expect there to be a lot of lightning tomorrow. Okay, there's probably going to be a couple strikes. There's probably going to be, a decent amount of lightning, but we're not looking at like a significant amount of lightning tomorrow. They're probably going to be pretty scattered. I would not be shocked if parts of the line of storms that does develop does not have any lightning at all. That's just the nature of these types of systems. So even if it's just a shower, technically not a storm because of no lightning, it still carries both severe potential hazards with it. Jacqueline says that she was on the stream for the Grand Blanc tornado. Yeah, that was our most viewed stream. I'm sure probably a lot of you watching here either started following us or were watching us that night. That was a late night, and that was a gut-wrenching night. Luckily, no one was seriously injured or killed with that, but that was just a reminder of how, fragile, I guess, so to speak, Michigan weather can be. There is no chance of hail tomorrow. How many knots do you expect on Saginaw Bay? Probably the same thing as here on the land. I'm going to probably guess between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So translating that probably closer to 40 knots or so, 42 knots. Also was on stream when the building exploded. Yeah. That was a weird stream. We have school kids coming to visit library tomorrow a.m. Will be raining then. In the morning, yeah. We're not really concerned about severe weather until roughly the 1 to 3 p.m. time frame, especially over there in Kalamazoo. You should be good as long as it's in the morning, but it will be probably raining throughout the early parts of the morning. As we get closer to noon, it'll be probably tapering off. Storms are moving northeast, east-northeast at roughly 50 to 60 miles per hour. Excuse me. Do you think these will pop up or more of a line? I think both is possible. Models have done both solutions. I think we're going to have a combination of both. I think we're going to have a main line try to develop in Illinois, Lake Michigan, pushing into Michigan. And then perhaps out ahead of that line, we could have some individual cells try to pop up. If that happens, storm mergers and convergence is possible, which is going to be something to watch as well in terms of like rotational features and stuff like that. I think both line segments and pop-up storms are possible. Yeah, for those of us who chase these storms, tomorrow is not a good day to be chasing. Number one, because storm motion is like northeast, which is, moving two directions at once. But also, number two, you're looking at, 50, 60 mile per hour storm speeds. We're not going to drive 70, 80 miles an hour to keep up with these things. I mean, we're just not going to do it. This is a day you go out, you sit in the field, you sit in an open spot, and you let the storm come to you. And at that point, you just kind of look for damage. If there's any damage, you don't try to chase these storms. You can try, but you're not going to keep up with them. Jordan says, hope no tornadoes tomorrow. Yeah, we hope so. We hope so too. All right. I don't see any more questions on here. So again, we'll probably be live. Maybe. I don't know. Might be live later tonight as models come in live to discuss. Late night crew was pretty full in force a couple nights ago. So we'll see how that goes tonight if you guys want to do that. Not guaranteeing it, but we might hop on there. So with that being said, a marginal risk of severe weather is in effect from the SPC for tomorrow for wind, and then also a secondary threat of a isolated tornado in the state. I'm not going to rule that out, but winds are going to be your primary threat. Main timing, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. arrival in the west side of the state, and that line of storms will clear the state on the east side by roughly 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So 1 to 10 p.m. is your time frame. Timing map is going to be posted on our page here probably tonight. I can work on it to make it more professional looking. Otherwise, that's all I got for you guys. We'll be on here tomorrow morning for sure. And also we'll be going live as soon as storms fire up to cover anything that may become severe. So with that being said, I'm going to hop off here. Thanks guys for watching. Do me a favor and hit that like button for me before you head out. We appreciate that. Stay safe.